All right, Emma, you ready to change some lives today?
Sure, I'm
Uh,
here.
all right,
Here
well
I
let's
am.
let's do it. Well, welcome everybody to today's episode of Senior to Seniors, where we explore inspiring stories and transformative insights that help us navigate the golden years of life with grace and resilience. So I'm thrilled to introduce you to my guest, Emma Soy, a remarkable registered nurse and aging in place consultant with over 30 years of dedicated experience in healthcare. A little bit more about Emma before we get started. Emma is not just a caregiver, she's a beacon of hope for family caregivers and their loved ones. As the founder and CEO of Gentle Shepherd Care, she's on a mission to redefine elder care, allowing older adults to thrive in the comfort of their own homes. Known fondly as the Panini Woman, Emma has a unique gift for peeling away the layers of stress and often burden caregivers, those incredible individuals juggling work, family, and the care of aging parents. With her innovative signature program, Assisted Living at Home, she is making quality care accessible and affordable, breaking down barriers that prevent families from getting the support they need. Emma's approach goes beyond traditional caregiving. She champions a holistic view of aging, focusing on nurturing independence, dignity, and vitality in every client. She is also the author of the insightful book, The P31 Workshop, guiding women towards abundant health, wealth, and fulfillment, available on Amazon. So join us as Emma shares her invaluable insights on the critical mistakes family caregivers often make, the importance of addressing root causes rather than merely managing symptoms, and how technology can enhance caregiving experiences. Whether you are a caregiver or seeking care for a loved one, this conversation promises to be enlightening and empowering. So, without further ado, let's welcome the incredible Emma Soy to the show. Welcome, Emma. I'm so happy to have you here.
Ooh, thank you very much. Ooh, sounds so good. I want to be that. I want to meet that woman.
Listen. I have to read this because it was pretty lengthy, right? But it's I I had to tell you a little bit about your story. So here's some notes I made. You're an agent in place consultant.
Mhm.
You're a best-selling author. You're a registered nurse. You're a speaker. You're a minister. You
Yeah.
have a signature program called Assisted Living at Home.
Mhm.
You're into personal care, medication management, transitional care management, elder care advocate, and you're the CEO and founder of Gentle Shepherd
Separate
Care.
care. Yeah.
How the heck? How the heck have you gotten that? Are you like 95 years old or what's the deal? Tell me more about yourself,
Wow.
Emma.
95 years old. Whoa.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
I have a soul of a 95-year-old though.
yes, ma'am.
I have a
Yeah.
soul of a 90-year-old.
Well, so tell me more about you and where your heart is at and what
Sure.
you're trying to do in this world.
Sure. So I'm at the stage right now when somebody asks me what I want to do when I grow up. I'm like, I am caring for the older adults. I
Hmm.
want to help them age gracefully,
Yes.
with dignity, thrive as they age. Now, you said I've been a nurse. I've been a nurse for over 35 years. I've
Yeah.
done a lot of different things in nursing, but one of the past 20 years or 15 years, I've been working as a geriatric care manager, meaning
Okay.
that I help the older adults manage life, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And so I've done it in different type of settings. I've done it in hospitals, in different place in community. So in the community, when I started, while I was in the community as a geriatric care manager, I decided to add home care services to help the older adults to age in place, aging where at home or wherever
Yes,
they call home, because there is no place better to age than at home. And I'm
exactly.
not saying that because I own a home care company. I say that because I know that is the truth. That's the best thing for anybody who's aging. There is no place like home. And so, but what I discovered when I started this home care company, I discovered three things. Most people do not plan on aging. They
Right.
on it. This is not a plan. Aging just happened to people. So people do not plan how they want to age. That itself is a different topics that we could talk about at different time.
Hmm.
People do not plan on where they want to age. And so a lot of people do not plan on how much. It's amazing when someone calls me and tell me their father or mother is 95 years old and they hearing for the first time that it costs $35 an hour for home care services. Like, what? It's
Yeah,
$35. Like it's the first time they hear that. And I'm thinking, well, if your mother's 95 years old, you should have known that 20 years ago, because
yes,
that's the only way that you can provide the best care is by planning ahead. So I find that most people do not plan ahead. And so that's why I am and then the other thing that I discovered, if I'm too long, let me know.
no, 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 go.
Other thing that I discovered is this, and as I was work caring for my home care clients, they came and we were focused on basic care. Like what? People call me and say, "Well, my mom is weak; she can't do this on her own." Like what? Personal care, right? Help my mom with her bathing, cooking, cleaning, do her laundry, remind her to take her medication and things like that, or she's memory is fading, and so she's roaming around and things like that. We don't want her to do that, so we want her to be safe, so we want somebody. Those are the reason that people call me for. So when I started to provide this kind of care, what I found was that we just watch older people decline. Okay, we just watch them decline. Most older people is declining with some kind of chronic disease they have.
Yes,
I call it the triplet. It's the triplet. It's the diabetes, the hypertension, the high cholesterol. These three, most older adult is taking something for these things. And so we find that these things people decline and we just watch them decline. People decline and decline until we usher them to the grave. I'm thinking I'm in the dying business. I just so for the past year or so, I have came up with a signature program where I am embarking on a journey of really helping older adults to thrive. I started with when I started, I always say, well, I want them to thrive, but they were not thriving. The
yeah,
reason that they're not thriving is because we don't focus on wellness. We don't focus on caring for the aging. We just watch people, we give them meds. Now, I have nothing against giving people medication if this is what they need, but I have to tell you, our system is care for acute person, or someone who's sick. Our system doesn't build for helping you
that's right. That's
to
right.
live and care for yourself. So that
Hmm.
is why when an older person has diabetes,
Hmm.
remember, diabetes is now. If I'm too much, please tell me because I will
Mm-mm.
talk. I will go on. Diabetes is they call it onset, adult onset, meaning that you were not born. Like most people, yeah, there are some people who have type 1, which is
Right,
like
right.
it's because of whatever. But most older adults have type 2 diabetes, which is adult onset. Well, when you become adult onset diabetes, what do? Even though the doctor said, well, eat better, Jim, do better, Jim, walk out, Jim, do this, Jim. But what do? We give them, we slap them with a prescription. We
Yep.
slap them with prescription. So when that prescription doesn't work anymore, we give them another one. We keep increasing the dose. We keep doing that. But the root cause of the issue, we never go through it. So then not I take diabetes as one, but it's just the slew of chronic diseases older adults just and that's what kills old people, not aging. Aging is not a disease. It doesn't kill people.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't think it's any secret to anybody that we're an over-medicated society. And, we've actually found that to be acceptable. And it's our fault, right? We have found that to be okay. So I don't need to lose weight. No, I don't don't need to eat right. I can remember at 318 pounds, I went to my doctor.
Mhm.
And I said he went through all the tests that he did, and he said, this isn't good. And
Mhm.
I said, well, it appears to me, doc, that I'm a train wreck ready to happen. And he
Mhm.
said to me, no, the train wreck has already occurred. Now it's time to try to clean up. And I
Mhm.
think that's where a lot of us are. A lot of us go in that way. We're trying to do cleanup and we're trying to figure out how we get there. But for many seniors, I think many feel that it's too late,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
And then it's not just them. People give up on old people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody
So,
give up on old people.
yeah. So your signature program is called, sorry for the dogs.
That's
I've got two grandchildren and two granddogs, and today I've got the granddogs in the house. So I
that's okay.
apologize. So you have a signature program called Assisted Living at Home, correct?
Yeah,
That's your signature program. Tell
yeah,
us,
that's the
tell us
one.
more about that, please.
So the assisted living at home is this. People think that they can go to assisted living. So when do people bring their loved one to an assisted living? They bring
Yeah,
them to assisted living when that person is requiring assistance, more assistance than the family can provide.
yeah,
Either the person works because whatever the reason is, it's just becoming too, because caregiving is very heavy. It's a job. And
yes,
most
it is.
people don't understand that. The society doesn't understand that. So most children of older adults, then the what's available to them is the assisted living,
Yeah,
because they think, well, assisted living is 24-hour care, it's cheaper, is this and that, at home is more expensive. So then you're comparing quality of life and cost. So then you have to choose, what do you want? You want quality of life or do you want cost? Because you can't compare living at home and assisted living. So yes, it is going to cost you more to age at home, because you have one-on-one care. You can't compare that. I always tell people, don't compare aging at home with assisted living. It's like comparing Nissan with a Cadillac. They're
uh-huh,
not the same. So
uh-huh.
you have to choose what works for you. So
You know,
aging in place is a program that we provide. Assisted living at home is a program that we provide around the clock care, right?
uh-huh,
For someone who wants to age at home, they can stay there as long as possible. As long, not as long, they can die at home. Like, you
sure,
don't
yeah,
have to go to an assisted living.
yeah,
And as long, and then we make it work for you. We do
yes.
whatever that you need to work for you. For example, I give you an example.
Hmm.
I had a client who, she had memory issues, dementia, and her children said, I'm never going to put my mom in a memory care unit. My mother lives in this 3-bedroom condominium. I want her to live here. So we bring assisted living at home. So what does that mean? We bring around the clock care in the house. Well, her schedule doesn't change. Her mom doesn't wake up until 10 a.m. Well, if
Hmm.
she goes to an assisted living, she has to be up with everybody at 6 o'clock. The
Hmm.
schedule starts at 6 o'clock in assisted living. So
Hmm.
all of a sudden, her schedule would be changed. She's in bed. She's until 10. That's the time she wakes up. Okay, she should. She has a
Hmm.
glass of wine every day at 4 p.m. Where would she get that in assisted living? And then
Right.
so her schedule is around her. She will take her walk when she wants. She wants to
Hmm.
get up and go walk. Usually she may not be able to tell you, but you think she takes her walker and you're like, okay, I think she wants to take a walk. You let her take a walk in the backyard, you go with her and you do this. Assisted living, everything has to be scheduled. Everything has to be tied up. So that's the assisted living at home, meaning that you bring the assistance in the home, in the environment that the person is familiar with, that they can thrive in their own
Yeah.
environment.
So, how often have you been thrown uh, into the situation where someone calls and it's an emergency? Because it seems to me that few of us plan for this, or getting older, and
Yeah,
it's like, ooh, surprise!
yeah.
Guess what? My wife just fell and broke her hip. Oh,
Hmm.
surprise! She's been having trouble walking for a long time. How 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 do you deal? Emma, with those kind of phone calls where people call you, and it appears to me they're going to be desperate.
Yeah.
And how do you help them make the best decisions for themselves?
So not only that issue they're calling because it's an emergency, you can't make the best decision when you are
No.
under stress.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at that time, they're searching. They can't, they have 10, 20, 20, 30 companies calling them because they put
Yes.
a request in. And so they're trying to figure out, so how do you pick the right home care company? So
That's a
number
great
one,
question. That's a great question.
yeah. So
And
number
it's
one, people are looking for costs. Costs become the thing. Like if somebody offer you $1 less, the person will take it because
mhm.
because there is no plan. The financial aspect of care become the number one aspect when picking a company. Well,
And
you
how
can't
sad.
do
How
you that
sad.
is sad. You can't do that, right? The other thing is you don't have a relationship with the company yet. Okay, so it when I tell people to plan ahead, let's say someone come and work with me to create a plan, an aging care
Okay.
plan, because I help people set up and plan, do a plan. The plan would compose of how do you want to age, where do you want to age, how much is that going to cost. Let's say we put a plan together, something physical, something that you can give to your children, to
Hmm.
anybody,
Hmm. Hmm.
your children, to if you can't make decision on your own. It's so much easier for your children to make the decision because you already made that decision. This is what you want to do, and you already know. So all they have to do is execute your plans, right? But
Hmm.
they already have a relationship with me now. If something happened, you broke your hip, they can call me. They can call me and
Yes.
say, Emma, listen, my mom just broke her hip. Automatically, I'm okay. She broke her hip. Okay, these are options you have. We had already discussed. Your mom never want to go to a nursing home. You can bring her home. If you bring her home, you already have a relationship with us. We'll set up things. We'll help you. We'll get the equipment that she need. And now I'm your resource. I'm telling you
Mm.
all the stuff that you are going to need. And
So, do you do this, Emma, just in North Carolina where you're at? Or do you do this and have clients
national.
from all over
I
the
can do
country?
this national. The planning, all of this can be national. Now, home care, the physical care itself, we do it here in North Carolina, but all the other stuff that we do, elder care planning, I can help you set up all the services and things that you need. We could do that national.
Interesting. So if someone uh, calls you and says, "I saw you,
Mhm.
I saw you on the Senior to Seniors podcast, and I'm intrigued,
Mhm.
and it seems like it kind of makes sense
Mhm.
that maybe we should be planning for this and put together an aging care plan, like
Mhm.
you talked about." What would that look like if I made that call to you today? How would the conversation go?
Okay. So then first of all, I would spend some time with you to get to know you. So I offer a free consultation. And during the free consultation, I have a list of questionnaire. I want to know what you want.
Hmm. Okay.
What do you want?
Hmm.
And based on what you tell me that you want, and you decide to start to come and work with us, then I bring you on. When I bring you on, the first thing I do a whole assessment.
Okay.
Assessment meaning that I ask you a bunch of questions, not just about your health. Your health is the number one thing because I want to know where you are health wise. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
I want to do an assessment of the home. We want to assess the house. What do you need? Do you have stairs? If you want to stay, then if part of your dream is to stay at home, I never want to go anywhere, Emma. Then I say, are you going to stay here? Or are you going to go somewhere else to stay? Right? Because there are, and then we would discuss options. What are the
Yeah.
options when someone say they want to age at home? Because the home doesn't have to be your home. It could be your children's home. It could be anywhere else. It doesn't have to be exactly this particular home. It could be an independent living, but it could be whatever the place that you decide that it's going to be home,
Mm.
right?
Okay.
So
Hmm.
we would make an assessment of that, and I would tell you what are the options, what's available. So when we decide, when we look at the health, and we talk about what do you want, how do you want to age. Now,
Okay.
Jim, would you like to age? Because there are two ways people age: their body fall apart or their brain fell apart. Which one would you pick? Which one?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because we got to work on both. It doesn't just happen. Just people don't just become demented. Okay, like if you got to,
Right.
there are things that needs to be done so you can do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
we do test different tests be, based on what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Physically, do you want your body to just fall apart, or do you want to take control of your body? Then we focus on that. Does that make sense? We
Yes,
start
it does.
looking at the cellular level. We start to look at the chronic diseases that you have, and I will tell you, if these continue, Jim, this is what you're gonna look like when you're 90. If
Yes.
this continue, this is what's going to happen to you when you're 90, because this is where you are now. We can reverse all of this. Do you want to work together to reverse it? Right?
This sounds fascinating.
So
So,
then,
let
so then we will work together to
uh-huh.
reverse it. This is the part of how do you want to age, and then the second part is where do you want to age. Then we make a plan. Where do you want to do this? And then we look at it. And then the last part is how much all of this stuff is going to cost me to
Yes.
age, right? And then
Yes.
we come up with put all that together. So those are the plans. That this is the plan. So we put all of this together, okay? And then at the end, all the legal stuff that you're going to need, you make sure you get them. All the discussion with all your 10 children need to be involved. Everybody knows who's in charge, who's going to run this, who's this and that. And they all know. You put all that together, and that now you have it. We physically and electronically keep it. And so we can revise it. And so let's say one day you fall. Oh, okay. So what do we do? You have Emma, you call me, and we said, okay, my mom fell. She's went to the hospital. What are some options? So you always have me as somebody that you can talk to.
It sounds fascinating, and it sounds like something that everybody should have, right?
Yeah. But
Have
people don't think they need that because they
no,
don't see the
they,
cost, the value.
yeah, I know. And so, what is the cost for something like this? I didn't ask you to come in here with a dollar and cents kind of thing and
Yeah.
selling something, and I know you're not. But an assessment, what if there is there a range of
Yeah.
what's because
So,
I imagine it's everybody's going to be different an amount of
everybody's
time.
gonna be different, but this is how I start. When someone come and do an assessment with me, my assessment is $1,500, and we cover a lot.
All right.
Okay, we cover a lot, and then after we do the assessment, I create a plan. Right? I create a plan and said, "Oh, based on this, this is where we're going, Jim.
Uh-huh.
Do you want us to work together to accomplish what we created, right? So then we
Yes.
start working together. So usually I ask for 10 hour per month, um, uh, um, to start with a 10 hour per month, and my rate is 175.
Okay.
And so now we start working. So you can use 10 hours or you can use more based on it, but it's a 10 hour. So until we accomplish everything that we have together, that we,
Interesting.
right?
Interesting.
So then I do an assessment, then I create a plan. Based on the plan, then we look at it. So it could take us a month, it could take 2 months based on what's going on with you. And then once that's done, then we can continue to work together. You can keep me on or whatever. We can create whatever the context is.
Yeah, sounds intriguing for people to have something like this. So if you went through a plan, for instance, you're going to probably point out different services that people may need as you're looking at this. Do
So
you have connections with services all over the
network, yep,
country as
yes,
well?
I have a huge network of different, people that I know that you're going to need in your life. As you age, you need a team of people.
Uh-huh.
You need
Uh-huh.
a team of people. You need an attorney. You need an elder care attorney. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
do need a nurse like me. Everybody should have a nurse like me in their life.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You need that. You need like depending if whatever the chronic disease that you have. For example, let's see. I work a lot with people with Parkinson's patients. They need a therapist in their life. They need a speech therapist. They need a physical therapist. So I tell you, based on what you need, what team do you need? We need,
caregivers.
if we're gonna do construction in your home, right, based on what you need. Let's say you want to age at home, but you don't have a first bedroom in your house, or
Uh-huh.
we're gonna need to do something about that. So we
Yeah.
bring all the people that needs to be in. What if you don't have any? Your house is not aging in place
Hmm.
appropriately. Like you don't have bars, you don't have your house, the doors are not big enough. So all this stuff. So I sent someone into your home to do an assessment to see, because if you've been in your house for 50 years, your house probably not aging in place kind of thing. So we got to make
Exactly.
it aging in place. The doors got
Hmm.
to be big enough. If you're gonna age in place and one day you need a wheelchair, we need to be able to go through the wheel through the there, right? If the
Hmm.
shower, if we need to
Hmm.
have a walking shower, because if you have a tub, you may not be able to. You're gonna get to a place you cannot get in a tub. How are you gonna get a shower, a nice shower? We want to be able to just wheel you in a shower. If you're gonna age in place, those are all my recommendation. Now you don't have to do any of these stuff, but let me tell you, I've been in this long enough. I know exactly what you need. Some people don't follow my instructions; they do whatever, and then let me tell you, they do face their stuff.
Mm.
Because if you have a
Well,
shower and you have a hump in front of the shower, if when the time comes and we can't will you in the shower, you can never get a good shower.
uh-huh. Uh-huh. You
That's an
know,
example.
part of why I do these podcasts, Emma, and why I started the Senior to Seniors podcast is because I pivoted in my business. I've been in a business 33 years, and I've been, selling real estate, working with buyers and sellers, all of the traditional stuff. I've been there, done that, operated a company, all of that. But I changed as I've gotten older and realized that seniors they need someone who focuses on them. Here's the example, and I'm not here to grandstand about me. This is about you. But what I've seen in my real estate business is, for instance, when people are thinking of selling their home, they call a traditional real estate agent who likely, not always, and not demeaning anybody, but likely have no knowledge of what we're talking about here today. They know how to sell properties and work with buyers, but they can't go into a home and help the people assess their health needs, to do this living at home assessment
Mhm,
that
mhm,
you do. And so I know there are times where an agent might say, well, let's get this thing listed and sold, without really knowing if where they're going next will be the next best thing for them. Because at the end of the day, it means a commission check. Okay,
yeah, yeah.
it's just the way the world works. And so by bringing people like you in and giving them the knowledge they need, hopefully we can prevent people from having to sell their homes. Right?
Yeah. Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I was into a home, and this older couple moved from Florida, okay, to North Carolina to retire. Okay.
Hmm.
They bought a house, and these are the kind of realtors I would like to spank. This makes no sense. They
Hmm.
sold this house to this couple, older couple. The man is 80 something. Okay. They have stairs. They have no first floor bedrooms.
Hmm.
This is their retirement house. Why would you want to sell to a couple, two old people, a house
Hmm.
with 18 stairs in their house?
It
This
makes no.
man,
Yeah.
this man also already he has kidney failure. He goes to dialysis 3 times a week. Why in the world nobody thinks? I go to their home. I'm like, what the heck? Where was he
Hmm.
supposed to go? He's tired after dialysis. He cannot go up the
The
stairs.
stairs.
And he has nowhere to sleep downstairs. He just bought this dingy house.
Yes. Yeah. Isn't that, it's a real sin. And a lot of it can, and I tend to think a lot of it has to be because that agent did not think this through for
That's
for
what I'm
their.
saying. That the
Yeah.
family's not thinking, right? But
Yeah.
this agent is really not
Yeah.
thinking also.
Yeah. Yeah. Or um thinking about, well, if it doesn't work out, we'll sell this one and we'll buy a different one. Right. So I know it happens in the world, and again, uh, I'm not raining on anybody's parade, but I think the approach that you offer is something that everybody should look into, and every person like me should make available to people, at least give them the knowledge like we're giving them today.
But
Um,
I'm glad there are people like you who are specializing in aging in place, because you would think, of these things better than a regular realtor.
yeah, so well,
Because,
that's what yeah, because I'm there, you know.
yeah,
I got to tell you, honestly, when I was 40 years old, when I was 50 years old, I didn't think about any of this, Emma. I'm
yeah,
invincible,
yeah,
nothing's ever going to happen to me.
yeah.
And I certainly didn't think through for a lot of people, maybe making the best decisions. So this is so interesting and great to know. But let's go on just a little bit, because you wrote a book that I want to discuss just a little bit.
Mhm.
And so talk a little bit about your book and the direction it goes. And we're talking about Proverbs.
Mhm.
And your book is titled The P31 Workshop: Putting Proverbs 31 to Work to Create Abundant Health, Wealth, and Beauty. So talk about your book.
Okay, sure. So my book is, it's based on the Proverb 31 woman. I don't know how much you know about the Bible.
Mhm. Yeah.
The Proverb 30, I usually talk to someone who doesn't know, like, what was the Proverb 31 woman?
Well,
There was a
yeah,
Proverb
and,
31
and
woman.
of course, while I might not have been entirely familiar with Proverb 31, I certainly read through it before today. So it would have been pretty dumb for me not to do that. So I do understand. But tell me the approach using Proverb 31.
Okay, the approach is that Proverb 31 has a lot of wisdom.
Yeah.
And one of the things, and traditionally in the church, when we talk about Proverb 31 woman, we always see her as that woman who takes care of her home, as a mother who takes care of her children. But when we look deep inside, she's more than a housewife. She's a manager of her home who oversees various things. Number one, the health of
Hmm.
her home. And I say, so when I speak to women, I tell them the health of their home is the woman have the key to the health of their homes, of their home.
Yes.
The,
Yeah.
the children eat what I give them. My husband eat what I give them. So when my children are not eating healthy, when they eat healthy, it's really on me. I started, and my husband too, because most husbands, I don't want to be general, but most husbands eat what their wives put in front of them. And so when I'm in
Okay. There you go. Yeah.
so I am managing that. So the health of my family, I'm in control of that. And so when we teach women not only to think there is a bigger responsibility, not only to your own health, but you have a whole family who you are responsible for. So when you are introducing things like sugar, processed food, different things that you enjoy, you the one who introduced them. I learned that myself as a mother because that's how I did it. I did it. I introduced all this sugar and processed food to my kids because I was too busy running a career, and not even thinking that this was not good for my kids. And then I
Yeah.
go and having kids that are eating bad food, and they become adults with bad habits. So it is starting with me because I am the general manager of the house.
Yes, you are. And so that just touches a little bit on Proverb, and what it has to say.
With
Uh,
him.
so I encourage everybody to go to Amazon. Your book is available there, so they can grab onto it there.
Yeah.
And before we end, just a couple more things. You are looking at the beyond pills approach.
Mhm.
You know, and,
Yeah.
how do you how do you how do you do that when you're consulting with people, because it'd be so easy to turn you off right now, you know. It is. It's easier to turn you off because, I could go to the pharmacy and get whatever pills, I need, supposedly. How do you approach your beyond pills?
The thing is, when you are 30, 40, and 50, there are certain things that they used to tell you, you didn't do anything about it. Okay, fine, you have years been. But when you are 60, 70, those years become very important. Those advice become very important.
Yes, ma'am.
What I preach a lot about is the pills are only a band-aid to disease.
Mm-hmm.
They're not cures.
Mm-hmm.
In medicine, if you start telling people about cures, they're going to kick you out because they don't do cures. There's no such thing. So each person has to become their own consumer. They have to take control of their own health, and you have to choose. There are other options than pills for managing chronic diseases.
Mm-hmm.
Most chronic diseases, you hear it all the time. The statistic and the science says most chronic diseases that we live right now with are reversible.
Mm.
Those pills are not there to reverse your chronic diseases. They are reversible, but with lifestyle. And so whatever the pill is, you have choices. You can use the pill as a crutch to live on, or you have another option where you start looking at holistic way of living, of taking control of your health, and you start working on, is it true? Can I for real reverse my diabetes? Can I reverse my heart disease? Can I reverse this chronic disease? If it's true, why don't I try it? And so that's what I offer to people, to be able to give it a try, because you've tried the others before. Every pill, they have to, after a while, they have to give you a second pill. If you have hypertension, high blood pressure, start you with one, later on they have to add another one. Why do they add it? Because it doesn't fix the problem. Go to the root of the issue. Let's fix it.
Listen, I've got to thank you for being here today. How do people reach out to you, Emma?
Go to my website, gentleshepherdcare.com. I offer this free download. It's a free 7 mistakes that family caregivers make that anybody can get. It's a free report that I offer to anyone. You can grab it on my website, and you can start there. So you can learn more.
We're going to start there. I'll put a lot of information when I download this so everybody can read about you and learn more about you. Emma, thank you so much for spending time with me today.
Thank you, Jim, for having me today. I appreciate it.
Okay. You have a great day. Thank you.
Thanks.